Welcome. When I was young, I had a dream. And it was that dream that set me on a somewhat crooked path to becoming who I am today. My dream, simple, I wanted to be a scientist. When I grew up in the northeast of England, I was glued every Saturday morning to radio and TV sci-fi programs, such as Quatermass and The Pit, The Outer Limits, and The Twilight Zone. I was mesmerized by those scientists in their white coats, faces glowing in the flickering green light of a cathode ray tube, surrounded by towering dials and levers with the crackling sound of electricity in the background. That was my dream, to become a scientist. To begin my path, at a young age, I met with my high school career counsellor, Debbie Downer. And she looked me squarely in the eyes and without a hint of empathy said, "Your dream is far too unrealistic, my boy. You might be a little bit too intelligent for the coal mines, but certainly not intelligent enough to be a scientist. A government role as a civil servant would suit you perfectly." Wow, Debbie Downer, dream crusher. But that fleeting moment of disappointment, it lit a fire in me. Why should I let someone else decide what I can or cannot be? And that's where I learned my first lesson in life. It's okay to follow your dreams, even when others doubt them. It was my grandmother, bless her, who saved me from my dream. Or saved my dream. She saw an ad in the paper. Scientific technicians needed for the Atomic Weapons Research Establishment. I applied, I got the job, and off I went, tappy-lappy down 300 miles down to the south to Aldermaston. It was everything I imagined it would be. Each day, I'd walk towards the laboratory to the slow tick-tocking sound of reactor's clock resonating in the air. I worked in a supersized glove box, wearing massive gloves, preparing samples of plutonium and uranium for testing. It was fascinating work, but after about 4 years, I realized a couple of things. There were some severe career limitations, and working with radioactive materials can be a bit hazardous for your bits. So I returned to the northeast of England and found work as a laboratory analyst at the locally named pill factory in Morpeth. Why was it called the pill factory? Well, here we made some of the early oral contraceptive pills. My career there progressed quickly, becoming a laboratory manager, then manager of quality assurance. Each of those roles provided some unique challenges for me, such as providing quality oversight during the building of two new chemical plants. And then there was this time when a white powder we manufactured, it turned pink. Everyone thought somebody had messed up the recipe. But by asking the right questions and by being curious, we discovered the issue was way upstream. That's why I learned the benefits about being curious. Curious about how things are actually made and what systems are in place to support that. At the pill factory, we had a very progressive general manager who encouraged these managers to explore opportunities outside of their normal comfort zone. I was offered the opportunity to work for a couple of years in human resources, and there I learned the importance of interview skills, and, more importantly, listening. All of these experiences began to sow the seeds of how much I loved change and challenges, and how eventually I adopted what I call a consultant mindset. So, my definition of a consultant mindset is a way of thinking that combines curiosity, problem solving, the ability to empower others to take action, and resilience, and having impact. It's about understanding how processes work, asking the right questions, delving into the root cause of problems, and being able to keep calm even in crisis situations. I've been a consultant now for well over 25 years, mainly working for the pharmaceutical companies that have been given FDA warning letters or even worse. My passion is working on new and complex projects, meeting new people, and solving some unique, challenging problems. This consulting mindset, it's been my guiding principle throughout my career. It's one I believe that can transform not just your work, but also your relationships and life as a whole. To me, it's curiosity that's the secret source of a consulting mindset. It's what drives you to see and accept new challenges. It helps you connect the dots that nobody else are seeing, and it opens up the doors to finding new ways to build bridges of understanding. While it's curiosity that can open the doors, it's the relationships you build that will help as you walk through them. Neither you or I can succeed in our careers alone. Relationships and teamwork are everything. As consultants, we thrive on building meaningful connections with others. Relationships are the foundation for building trust, collaboration, and negotiation. We couldn't become the best advisor for our clients if these were not present. I've been fortunate to work on projects across the globe, from France, the Netherlands, Germany, to Japan and China. Each experience has taught me the value of embracing diversity and respecting different perspectives, different cultures, and different beliefs. Building strong relationships has a ripple effect that will impact both you personally and professionally. Like a stone thrown in a body of water, those ripples will come back to you in some way. It's the relationships you build that can help you handle life's challenges and give you the resilience to keep moving forward. In 1989, I was offered and accepted an opportunity to work as a manager of compliance at one of my company's sister sites in Canada. This was a totally new adventure for me and my family. Being in Canada was great. It was in Canada where I found a passion for being actively involved in community theatre. Life was just amazing for the first year. Then things went a tad awry. Have you ever been in a toxic work relationship? I came to find out that my boss had a mother hen type personality. She was a diminisher that would constantly look for faults rather than let you learn from your mistakes. This left me second guessing my decisions and then doubting myself. my confidence tumbled and I fell down my emotional ladder. Ultimately, this affected my marriage and eventually led to a divorce. But as I learned, every setback is a stepping stone if you choose it to be. This situation was like a parachute I needed. I bounced back, climbed back up my emotional ladder, and to be quite honest, I grew up. I promised myself I would never, ever, ever let circumstances pull me under again. I met Dave McCarthy, who owned a consulting company. Dave became not just my boss, but also one of my greatest mentors and a true and long-lasting friend. Working for Dave was a blessing, and in his company I was able to work with many diverse companies in the pharmaceutical and life science industries. This was the start of me becoming a consultant. I also became much more involved in community theatre and eventually produced and directed over 30 theatrical productions. Actually, it was community theatre that helped me learn what project management really was. Theatre is unforgiving. You have about 10 weeks to prepare your actors, crew, rehearse, build a set, light that set, and be ready to perform on opening night when an audience arrives. No failure, no excuses. That audience is coming in, and you and your team just have to deliver. My next consulting experience led me to Puerto Rico. This assignment was supposed to be just for 3 months, but it ended up spanning 10 years. On this project, one of the things I did learn was to dance salsa and merengue, which is quite an achievement for a Brit. Little did I know then that fate had plans not only for me, but for someone else as well. As well as having some of the major pharmaceutical manufacturing companies supplying the US market, Puerto Rico was also the central hub for warehouse distribution centers on the island for various retailers, including Sears. The Sears Puerto Rico Distribution Center found that they needed a financial manager to support them. The closest support was in Florida, and Sue, one of the financial managers working there, willingly offered her services. However, a finance director said they've already found somebody else in mind, or have somebody else in mind from the corporate office. A few weeks passed, and as fate would have it, the finance director called Sue and said, "I don't know how exactly you did this, but they want you to go there to support Puerto Rico DC." During the same time period, my consultant team from the States were residing at one of the larger hotels in Condado. One of my teammates, Fred, insisted that I should go and meet somebody, a lady named Sue from Florida, who was doing support work on the island and happened to be staying at the same hotel. Fred was very, very, very insistent. So after a few long phone conversations, I did finally get to meet Sue in Tampa. Sue had a small horse farm in central Florida, and she introduced me to our horses, our geese, goats, Irish wolfhounds, and a very talkative, noisy Moluccan cockatoo called Poncho. Sue, well, she reignited my faith and love, and a year later we married and built a beautiful life together here in Florida. Then one horrible day, Sue was diagnosed with leukemia. Watching her endure chemotherapy and a bone marrow transplant was tough. Seeing her in an ICU was excruciating. But Sue's strength and emotional toughness was inspiring. Together with family and dear friends, we leaned into prayer and the support of a higher being. And what I can only describe as being a golden light. Today, I'm more than happy to say Sue is 5 years blood cancer free and full of life. A true testament to the resilience and hope. We did find out that our donor was a 21-year-old Brit, and we plan to seek her out in the next couple of years. Resilience provides you with the emotional strength to rise from your setbacks. But it's what you do after you rise that truly defines you. Resilience alone isn't enough. You must channel it into creating a meaningful impact on yourself and those around you. And what better way to start to have impact is to leave things better than you found them. From a consultant's perspective, impact isn't about charging in like the 7th Cavalry to fix everything. It's about empowering others to solve their own problems. Whether it's with a client, a friend, or a family member, sometimes the best thing you can do is to actively listen to them rather than try and take over. When you give others opportunities to create early successes and you let them take credit for wins, even if those wins were your idea, you will create a lasting impact on them. Remember, success breeds success. When you have mentored someone who grows and succeeds far beyond what might have been originally expected, it's an indescribable feeling of pride and fulfillment. It's like watching a seed that you help nurture bloom into this magnificent tree, stronger and taller and more vibrant than you ever imagined. There's a deep sense of joy in knowing that you played just a small part in unlocking their potential. But even more awe in seeing how they've taken that and created something extraordinary. For me, this happened with Sarah, a young and eager member of my team at SmithKline Beecham in Canada. When Sarah joined us, she was bright, full of potential, but lacked the full experience to take on significant responsibilities. By guiding her, challenging her to think critically, and giving her the opportunities to shine, I watched her grow and grow. A couple of years later, on a visit to Canada, Sue and I met up with Sarah. And Sarah recounted on those times we had worked together. And she told me that she attributed those experiences as being the building blocks that eventually led her becoming the global VP of quality for GlaxoSmithKline Consumer Health. Creating impact isn't all about what you do. It's more about empowering others to realize their full potential. It's a reminder that the greatest impact we can have isn't in our own achievements, but in the success of those we help along the way. So let me wrap up with this. A consulting mindset is more than just some kind of professional philosophy. It's more a way of life. It's all about staying curious, building meaningful relationships, being resilient during adversity, and creating lasting impact. So as you reflect on your journey, ask yourself, what challenges can I embrace today? What relationships can I nurture? What is the impact I want to have in life? And remember, creating balance is key. For me, it was community theatre, and now it's showing my Irish Wolfhounds at AKC dog shows. These are the things that have kept me grounded and energized. Find what fuels your passion. Oh, and about that childhood dream I have of becoming a scientist, guess what? I've been living that dream all along by exploring new adventures and challenges, experimenting with new ways of doing things, embracing different cultures and challenges. So, why don't you just go out there, embrace the challenges, be curious, build relationships, be resilient, create impact, and most importantly, find your purpose and follow your dreams. They're out there and they're just waiting for you. Thank you all.